As a millennial, if you had like visitors at home and you're all over jumpy, you want to like see what the guest is drinking or touch the guest's plate.
Yeah.
Your mom would just give you that look. Yeah.
Bombastic.
Criminal, offensive, side eye. And then you would know, hey, bro, kimeniramba.
You guys have no swag, and it's true, you don't have swag. Not being offensive, but...
Hi, I'm Henry Mwangangi. I am a voiceover artist at henrymwangangi.com. I'm also the digital marketing strategist at Balozi Technologies.
My name is Munene Dennis. I'm a journalist, and to be more specific, a radio presenter. And apart from that, I'm also a digital creator. I'm a radio presenter under KBC, of course, under the other stations that are in KBC. So
today we are here to discuss the differences between a Gen Z and a millennial, and I am the millennial.
I'm the Gen Z, of course. You see, I'm a Gen Z.
Yeah, so guys, welcome to Culture Quest.
Welcome.
Okay, so when I hear about the Gen Zs, what comes to my mind is people who are unapologetically themselves. It's a generation of people who've, I think, with the millennials, we were strictly following what our parents were doing, blah, blah, blah. But with the current generation, which is there's the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, right? So the Gen Zs are the ones that came immediately after the millennials. Those guys are so themselves, they will, if it's a 9 to 5, they'll just leave immediately after 5. There's no overtime. So in the context, especially of the corporate world, there are guys I actually admire their ways of operating. What comes to your mind? You are Gen Z. What comes to your mind when you hear of your fellow Gen Zs?
Well, it's nothing much more away from what you think of them to be. For me, I think that Gen Z are very open-minded people. They normally don't beat around the bush. And actually, these are people who have given the modern society a new chance to start reevaluating things, you see. There are people who don't, they don't care. That is what has been put, that they don't care. But basically what they are is that ni wale watu wenye wanaga speed ya maisha sana. You can't push them to the corner and you expect them to just cooperate just like that. No. They know how to fight for their rights. And I'm speaking about us, we know how to fight for our rights. It's not like the millennials anyway, but Gen Zs are just like that. So much unapologetic, and they don't beat around the bush. If they want this done, that is what they want to be done. And more so, put themselves first. They don't think of the other people first. They first of all put their needs first. Utasikia mtu anakuambia, oh, my mental health. Ameka mental health yake mbele, unlike choosing to put maybe something else ahead of themselves. So maybe that's how I think about the Gen Zs. Millennial person is this person, from where I work, is that you see these people, they are very strict. The millennials are quite strict. Ni wale watu wa kufuata sheria. They don't normally believe in freedom. With the Gen Zs, they work with freedom. If it's a certain task that has been given to them, they feel that the Gen Zs feel like I need also to be given some time to kuchangia. Nataka hata mimi nipatiane maoni yangu. But for the millennials, they think what they say is final. So if I spot you, if we were having a conversation and I realize that you want to have the conversation one-sided, I would definitely know that you're a millennial.
I would say the way I identify millennials in the office, in an office, is because they don't have swag.
But of course.
On a lighter note though, like the Gen Zs have revolutionized how people even go to office looking. Even you see even on TikTok, they're not very traditional, as you said. They not rock their white collar whatever to go to work. They'll go to work in denim and just be okay with that. As we were taught, if you're going to an office, you have to suit and tie. Yeah, and I like that about that. They're giving us new ways of looking at life and if you're delivering, then I think that should work.
But that is one thing. Huh?
Yeah.
You see, with the millennials, I think just the way you've put it, with the swag, and how they dress.
Yeah.
Many a times, you see, like I work in the radio department, and in the radio department things are a bit different. You don't necessarily need to wear so much classy clothes, lakini ukienda kwa millennials lazima mtu akuja ameweka tie. They have to dress that, nimeenda kazi, I have to dress like this.
Yeah.
So I think that's also another way that I could identify a Gen Z in an office.
You can't blame them though, can you?
Yeah, I know we cannot.
Our office at Balozi comprises more of Gen Zs. Because apart from myself and the CEO, I think the rest are just Gen Zs. And it's because we are a technology company and the majority of people are doing social media management, advertising, the ones doing graphics designs. And I think the Gen Zs have mastered the art of like social media. They've grown up with it. They've understood different social media platforms, so they are better suited to even handle those jobs. Yeah, what would you say is the majority at your workplace?
Fortunately or unfortunately, from where I work, from the office that I'm coming from right now, the office is surrounded by people who are of much more higher age. You find that wale watu wako hapo wale wengi ni millennials. The millennials are much more unlike the Gen Zs. But I thank the government and of course my employer, because of late they have started embracing the culture of having Gen Zs also incorporated. Because you see, with the current trends, you cannot have a millennial be trained to start handling such social media trends. Mambo inasonga mbio sana. Things are moving so fast, such that a millennial will not catch up as soon that they could. But if you put a Gen Z in that position, utapata wanamaliza vitu haraka. They are trying to cope up with the trends as easy as possible, and whenever you want them to accomplish a certain task, they will do it. So in the office I come from, the millennials are, ni wengi ukilinganisha na the Gen Zs, but it's something that they are working on. I've seen that work because personally I'm a Gen Z, and actually the latest employment that I've seen has incorporated a lot of Gen Zs actually. I've also seen that in my area of work, I have the Gen Zs working with me. I normally don't like working with the millennials when it comes to my area of work. That is the personal area of work. Sio mahali natoa rent. Lakini mahali napata two bills to hapa kando. I don't like working with the millennials. So in my own personal office, I have Gen Zs much more than the millennials. But mahali napata ka salary ya mwisho wa mwezi, kwa millennials ndio wengi.
It's funny you mentioned that because that's our next question. You mentioned you don't like working with the millennials. Now give us a reason.
The reason I don't like working with millennials, for lack of a better word, they don't cope up with the speed of things. They don't know how to cope up with the speed of things, unfortunately. And you see, with the Gen Zs, our things move on so fast. You're like, your story tumemaliza, sawa tuonane kesho. But with the millennials, they're like, we have to follow these, we have to do this, it's protocol, it's this. But for the Gen Zs, come on, tell me, is it possible? Hello Mwangangi, niko na hii gig nataka, I want you to give me a voiceover. Yes, a millennial will start telling me, protocol, these.
Talk to my agent.
Just talk to my PA. You see, tell me as a good business partner. Just tell me, haitawezekana. So the Gen Zs, they always work. Their speed is much more higher compared to the millennials, and the millennials now have to follow protocol and this and like my boss. I'm sorry to say this, but my boss is so protocol. Lazima aende na mutaratara. That person has to follow all the orders. And you're like, you my boss, come on, you can pull some strings. Why don't you pull the strings? So I don't like working with millennials just because they don't cope up with the speed of work. I don't know about you.
I think there's two ways to to it for me. I prefer working with GenZs if it's like a freelance project. So like you said, they are quick to do things. So if it's like a gig, a collaboration maybe, I'm doing a voiceover, I need someone to do like the graphics or the video or the animation. I find it easier to collaborate with a Gen Z because they'll deliver it on time and they are up to par with the trends. But if it's the office setup, they also don't like following protocol, which can be a bit technical with like your bosses, because like why are they joining Zoom from the kitchen when they are eating?
Hatukai sana.
So yeah, it cuts across two ways, but it depends on the context. So I can work with either. At Balozi, Millennials. It's the voice of Eddie Mwangangi, GenZs all day.
All right.
The GenZs are just amazing because one, their swag, their drip, bro, out of this world. We cannot match. Us, we just throw in a casual shirt and that's it. But then they match colors. They even know colors we don't know. Beige, mauve, bro. What is that?
Bermuda.
Now, when it comes to the corporate side, is the ability to separate like their personal health, mental health from the work. So the boundaries, the setting of the boundaries, and the ability to also say no. You know, like for us millennials, because we were brought up with that fear of the authority, it's hard for us to say, no, boss, I'll not do this. But the GenZs will be like, no, period. It's on God, no cap. And then, yeah, so I admire that. And I also admire the way they're revolutionizing like industries.
Yeah.
Like in the advertising industry, which is where I work mostly, we've seen a lot of trends that would not have been considered like orthodox. Like you've seen videos of even companies, and they are forcing the employees to shoot TikToks in the office. Not forcing, rather they are like making a lot of sales through that. They are generating a lot of traffic and interest through even funny videos and incorporating that with the corporate world. So their ability to bring the fun to work is something everyone should admire. Unlike the millennials who are like so serious all the time.
You are trained about this. It's not my job. It's nothing else. It's my job. For me, what I like about the Gen Zs is just like you've just put it. But one more thing that I normally like about ourselves, and I'm so proud to say that about this. I'm very proud to talk about this. Is that we are so creative. We go out of world. We go out of, we can come up with a solution about anything, What's the problem? This and this. Dakika moja tu, just 1 minute. And I'll just do my thing. Yeah. So the Gen Zs are a bit creative. And of course, it's fun working with them because they're so hyper. And they'll bring that joy to the office just like you've put it. So yeah, it's really, really fun working with the Gen Zs. That's a very, 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 very wide question, but I'll try to narrow down kidogo. Where I work, my end month office is that I feel like I've not yet been. They really don't understand that potential that Gen Zs really hold. I feel like my potential has not yet really been exploited. I feel like bado kuna kitu imebaki. But for Munene Digital, where now I earn my own, to build up a kando, I have really worked out, I feel like everything there is really sorted. But in my end month, whatever, mahali nafanya kazi hapo kwa radio hapo, I feel like bado my potential has not yet really been exploited. Yep. And ni kwa sababu whenever I try to bring up an idea, me as a Gen Z, I feel like hii idea nimeleta, na feel hii idea ndio inaweza hii. Lakini now my boss has to tell me, it's a 3-department thing, it's a 4-department thing, and I have to wait. By the time inafika point ya ku execute that idea that I had brought up, hata nishasahau nilikuwa nime-bring up nini. I've already forgotten, by the way. So I feel like I'm not yet completely understood, and my potential as a Gen Z has not yet really been exploited where I work. I don't know. For Mwangangi, how is it for Mwangangi?
As a millennial working in the office, I feel like I feel understood. I don't feel misunderstood at all. I feel seen, and we've also incorporated the Gen Z. So where I work, because we are a startup and also we are a technology-based company, we have to be at par with the current trends. I feel like there's a difference between your like radio per se, because radio will be slow to adapt to change because it's existed for years, as opposed to like a startup, a technology startup that is trying to catch up with the trends that are happening. So we'll be more embracing to Gen Z ideas than a radio. Understand? So I get you being misunderstood. I wouldn't view them as a threat per se. At first, when they came, the Gen Z started getting employed because they had to finish school and they were growing up. So at first, when they started, people were like, these guys are becoming a threat because they're coming with different ideas. And but with time, you realize you just need to listen to their worldview and try and view the world from their perspective. Try understand and incorporate that as well. They can help you in different ways. So as a person who is in charge of Gen Zs, even where I work, I don't view them as a threat, rather as an opportunity to learn. I can learn a lot from their thinking outside the box, their creativity levels, and if I incorporate that in my, like, say, marketing and advertising, then probably if I was scripting a commercial, for instance, as a millennial, I would use the traditional marketing techniques, straight sell, just say, you want to buy this, come here and buy this. But Gen Z will be like, they are rolling in the mud and then they bring you whatever they're selling. They have to be. So I don't view them as a threat. I view them as a learning opportunity. What about you?
With that, tuko pamoja. I totally agree with you. There's no threat that the Gen Zs bring to the industry. All that needs to be done, I think it's just assimilating them, or assimilating the millennials to the Gen Z, because everything is dynamic. So, and it's possible to assimilate millennials to the Gen Zs, and like vice versa, because the world really keeps on changing and changing. So no threat. Just like I said earlier, protocol. And you see, I had said it earlier that Gen Zs are so straightforward. I want this to be done. I mean, can we just do it? Maybe the idea that I brought on board was supposed to be executed then because I saw it very necessary to be executed that time. But you as a millennial, you have to tell me, twende hivi, tufanye hivi, twende kwa supervisor, twende tufanye hivi. That becomes a bit more trickier for me as a Gen Z. But of course, we just have to work to create some conducive working environment. Tunafanya kazi nao hivyo tu, lakini the protocol is a big challenge for me. I don't know how you view it.
Working with millennials, I understand where you're coming from. From a Gen Z's point of view, you will view it as an hindrance to your creativity. But the thing is, generations change with time. So people are living according to the way they were brought up. So the way your teacher taught you in school, the way your parents taught you at home. So you can't blame the millennials for being more aligned to protocol, because that's what they've been taught. They found the generation that came before was even more strict. Those are the guys that they couldn't give you a job without a CV. Maybe you have a portfolio. No, they couldn't do that. Those are the guys that you can't send you can't drop the project on WhatsApp. No, send an email. If the email doesn't find me in good health,
I hope this mail finds you well.
If it doesn't find me well, I'm not responding. So there's also that bit of protocol can sometimes be a pain somewhere, especially if you want things to go faster. But it also comes in handy as well if you want to do follow-up, because there's reasons why there's protocol. Okay. The Gen Zs. I sound so old. Right? it's like 1970s. I remember when we were being told about
come
the Gen.
past.
I remember when the Gen Zs came.
Yeah.
Anyway, some of the Gen Zs can be a bit irresponsible, which stems from the fact that they also prioritize their mental health. Drizzle. I'm not saying mental health is not important, but they at times can neglect the stuff. Like I have a friend, and I'll use him as an example. He cannot do anything to me because so I work with him closely, and we get a lot of projects.
Yeah.
And I'm his boss, so sometimes clients want like very swift response, like you said, even if it's through the protocol.
Yeah.
And this guy will never check his emails because he's right.
Okay.
So it becomes tough because like the client wants like a quick turnaround, and then you send the email. That guy's playing FIFA Uko. He's playing FIFA Uko. So at times that follow-up, because of the lack of the protocol, not checking your emails and all that, it can be an hindrance to efficiency at work. But here when they decide to work, they can really deliver. Yeah.
The reason why I'm laughing is I once worked with a certain friend. He's such a friend who was out of this world. That guy was a very good graphic designer. I won't even mention his name. He was a very good graphics designer, and now this guy had no phone. I really doubt that guy is even a Gen Z. I don't know, but he had no phone. Not even a katululu ati ile kafinya sijui nini ati mulika mwizi. No.
No, I know such a guy.
No phone, no smart, no hiyo katululu hana. No smartphone. The guy only works with a laptop, and that is his working. That is his tool. So this one day comes and the station manager is on his neck. It's like, person X, I need a certain assignment delivered to me. And the guy was like, yo, namalizia. And the boss was like, okay, why haven't you gotten back to me? At least hata unipatia update, uniambie vile kunaendelea. The guy was like, usikii sina simu. Uski sina simu. Actually the word is uski sina simu. And the boss was alishtuka and was like, okay, so how have you guys been working with this guy without a phone? And we're like, tumezoea sisi. So how do you pay for your matatu? It was a whole conversation. How do you pay for your bus fare? And the guy was like, mi upatiana namba ya auntie anatuma. And the guy is well off. You look at him, he's very much okay, but everything is okay. Lakini hapo kwa communication hapo, hapana. Anakuambia, the only way you can talk to me is via email. When to me email, nitakujibu kwa email. The guy only works with a laptop without a phone. So for me, the hardest part of working with Gen Zs is that it being an advantage that we are open-minded, we are outgrowing ourselves each and every other day, we tend to forget ourselves. The difference is very thin. Huwa tunajisahau. Utapata mtu anaambia boss wake, unajua wewe ndo umeniajiri lakini at least hata nipewe nafasi nijiexpress. No, unataka upewe nafasi nijiexpress and you're not putting the company first. I remember when I was getting employed, we were told, put the company first. The company comes first. But for Gen Zs, they tend to forget that easily. It's very easy for them to forget about it. And of course, Waswahili husema vilivyo pamoja vikosi, kugongana. When two pots are in one basket, they have to hit each other. Now, Gen Z is working together. It's a whole crisis because everybody has their opinion. Huyu anataka ifanyike hivi, huyu anataka ifanyike hivi, and everybody feels so much superior. They feel that their ideas are very superior than the other. So that is my hardest part working with them. First of all, They don't respond easily. They don't respond easily. You have to convince them. And then the other one, your difference. The thin line between being creative and being outspoken is very thin. And the Gen Zs normally forget themselves. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, there are a lot of stereotypes about the Gen Z. One being, they are never serious. Yeah, always joking. Those guys are always on their phone. Which is true. You guys are always on your phone.
Where's your ukweli kwa stereotype?
No, you asked me, is it true? A stereotype can cut both ways.
Okay.
Something could be said. Something could be a stereotype and a truth.
Okay.
And also, the truth is relative. Because it's the truth according to my experience where I work. I feel like, and there are jokes about this, the iPad kid. You grow up with your tablet and your own phone.
Yeah.
You know, as we did have phones until the first time we are seeing smartphones is 2014.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so
I know.
that time there's only a few teachers who have the smartphones, so we were not used to having them. But now the kids were born 2000s. You get 2000s. Now at that time they are growing. They even in class 3 you have a phone. Class 4 you have a phone. These guys get attached to their phones.
Yeah.
And now it's hard to separate that even at work. But that's one stereotype, you guys always on their phone, and it's sometimes to some extent it's true. And one of the seriousness, I think there's some more serious, so that cuts both ways.
Okay. Yeah. You guys have no swag, and it's true. You don't have swag. Not being offensive, but
you're saying there's no drip.
Drip, check, nil. Yeah, but it's we can't blame you. We can't blame the millennials. It's something that is in them. My friend, when I was growing up, my dad was so strict. He was like, lazima uvae trouser iko na nafasi. They want me to put on a trouser that is, that has got some space. And I don't want to put on that trouser. Tena trouser ya material, nataka nivaje trouser ya material. So I had a very hard time growing up, because my dad being that tough millennial guy. Actually, hata si millennial yako hapo nyuma kidogo, ingine iko hapo. So the stereotype is that you guys have no drip check, and it is very true. No offense though.
No, but I understand though. You're forced to go to those weddings looking like a clown.
Yeah. At
Christmas.
Bye.
Yeah, Christmas. It looks very good. Yeah. It's the baggiest size they could find.
Yeah.
You go to the shop and say XL.
Kuna mtu alisema mahali.
Nakutoa vizuri sana. The way society works is a bit interesting, because if one generation is like this, the other one will be the opposite. And then the one that comes after will be exactly like the other one that was before.
Exactly.
Because you're trying to be unlike the other generation, and then you're becoming like the one that came before that. So you find things becoming recurrent. Like you said about baggy clothes. There's a time when every millennial wanted to just have skinny jeans and skinny stuff. But now the Gen Zs came with baggy, you're wearing baggy stuff and grandma aesthetics. What is it? Half-gala aesthetics.
Vintage buddies.
Bro, out here looking like my grandma. It's like you do amazing. Now to go to a work ethic from the Gen Zs would be, my boss should not hear this. Boss, just close your the ability to separate themselves from work, and they just don't care. If they're outside the office, they not pick the calls, they not even think about work.
Shikatano kwanza.
That could be something, but we gotta pay bills, so for that, the other thing is their creativity, bro. They're so creative when it comes to workplace. As millennials trying to keep up, we are crawling, bro. We're trying to run after Gen Zs. The trends keep on changing every day. Before you do this one, they've changed the trend. So I wish I had the mind of a Gen Z, especially in advertising and marketing. That would come
oh my God.
in handy.
let me first of all start by, you know, telling what I would like to borrow from you guys. I don't know whether it's included here, but I'll just reverse it. Eh?
Okay.
I would like to borrow your calmness. You guys are really calm, man. Look at yourself. you're just calm, yeah. But for us, we are a bit hoppy here and there, you know, here and there. Totally. But now, what I would like to borrow from the millennials is how you guys normally know how to kupanga vitu. You know, you have a certain order to organize. Like, you're so organized, you guys. Really need to work and to borrow that ethic from you, from the millennials, because you really know how to organize your duties. Kuna masaa ya kufanya hivi, kuna masaa ya hivi. Hey bro, for me, nimeamka asubuhi, najikunjua hivi, hata kama sikuwa na schedule, anything that's working for me. We don't work under the law. We work under the grace.
You know, as I would say that the reason millennials are sort of like organized is because we had different pen colors for the headline.
Oh my!
They're writing in red. The teacher will ask, "Unaandika na red kwani wewe ni mwalimu?" So you have to you learn the hard way. And about the calmness, I think it's it stems from fear. As we were chapwad in school, so you guys were not chapwad, so you are all over.
It was illegal to punish us.
As a millennial, if you had like visitors at home, right, and you're all over jumpy, you want to like see what the guest is drinking, or touch the guest plate.
Yeah.
Your mom would just give you that look,
bombastic,
criminal, offensive, side eye. And then you would know, hey, bro, kimeniramba. So you have to be calm. It comes from all that. Stems from trauma, I think.
You guys had trauma and growing up.
We need therapy. It's a PTSD, so don't wish for it. So. Yeah, it's true. So majority of the GenZs anyway. I also feel to that regard, I am like a millennial. Millennials.
You're Millennials.
Because like I've quit so many
jobs.
I'd
really want that generation. Millennials. It's a good generation.
Because I've quit so many jobs, and partly because GenZs, like you said, really prioritize themselves and value themselves. They value convenience, and if any slight inconvenience like this, they are quitting. So even their tolerance levels are so like low. They will not tolerate anything if it's not working according to the way they want. They'll just leave. Millennials, on the other hand, most of us are surviving mode.
Yeah.
On surviving mode, you were taught education is the way. You cannot quit a job because a job is what will make you rich, apparently. So, you'll find like at the workplace, millennials are more resilient with their jobs. They will hold on until they retire. And for that I envy the GenZs, because sometimes corporate jobs can be exploited, to be honest. So the salaries, the toxic work environments, and people just not valuing your physical, mental health and your pockets. Yeah, but as a person who's worked as a freelancer mostly and then in the corporate world, I think the Gen Z way of working is very important and also very beneficial to the Gen Z, but very damaging to the corporate. Because now if you have someone that is hopping from the one company to the other, they will not do anything substantial in that specific company. Before they even learn orientation, before they learn how to operate the teleprompter at the workplace, and you've handed in their resignation. So, yeah, it has both ways to it.
To me, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll agree that Gen Zs, me personally, I would not work for a company for a long time. I will not lie, because we normally feel like we need to explore much more and more and more and more. Where I work, sorry to say this, but the most or the bigger population there is that which is ile miaka imesonga kweli kweli. And you look at this person and you're like, you unaenda kugonga 60 and you still working here. Why you working here? Unaenda kugonga 60. You had all the time to explore some other, some other ventures. Why couldn't you do that? So for the GenZs, they normally try hopping, and it's all, about chasing the bag. Chasing the bag ndo ile kitu yenyewe inatukimbiza sana. And I remember these things still also originated as we were being taught in the unis, because back at uni ungesikia mtu anakuambia, or your professor, your lecturer telling you, it's the bag that matters. It's the bag that matters. So if you feel like voice of any Mwangangi is not paying me well, tomorrow you'll see my resignation letter, and I'm not apologetic about that. It's just because I feel like I need to explore and explore and explore. So yeah, we will quit a job at any given time.
But yeah, to add on that, I think the reason you guys, rather the Gen Zs, have that liberty to hope and jump and quit and do all that is because of even the age. Because when you look at majority of the millennials, they are 28, they're going 30s, not the kid or that they're fire. Those are guys who have young families, and they're settling, they have wives, they have responsibilities. If you're firstborns, you're taking care of your brothers and sisters. So that hopping and jumping from one job to another becomes uncertain at some point, because you cannot just hop from one job to another without the surety of like the next paycheck. So it becomes a bit technical for the millennial to do that, because they want that stability. They're at the point in life where they are looking to get a house and a car. For the Gen Z, most of you guys, some of them are living with their parents, or you've just left your parents' place, you're living at your own crib, you're just taking care of yourself. You can quit the job today and hop onto the next office tomorrow. And it's allowed, because that's the age to be adventurous. If you're not adventurous at that time, then you'll find the old mzes dancing on TikTok. Like you'd be very embarrassing.
And you see, I think also the reason as to why we normally take any opportunity that has been granted to us is because hatuwezi tukablame pia ile age watu wanaishi siku hizi. At 50, I'm gone bana. So I need to do more. I feel like I need to do more. And of course, the pressure that is there. Pia kwa social media pressure ni mingi sana. So you're like, man,
Forex.
Munene ameachieve hii na ako 21, ameshanunua gari. What am I supposed to do? They try until they have tried to the, hawana any other option, wana give up. Pale mwisho sasa ndo wanaenda kuinulia mikono. But mwezi mkatublame. Pia maisha vile inatupeleka, economy ni ngumu bana. So we have to rush with the trends out there, and of course these tough economic times, and and also venturing in other new areas, of course. Kujaribu no kugeria mali.
Like you guys. So we are going.
Given a chance, kama ningeulizwa mimi, kama ningeitishwa maoni yangu pale kwa katiba, watu wakistipulate waseme this is the retirement age for corporates, I would say allow these guys to retire at a very early age. Why? Just like I had said earlier on, these guys have a lot of energy. Don't let that energy get wasted to that corporate company yenye haujui the outcome itakuwa aje, the return on investment itakuwa aje. No, GenZs rush with the return on investments. Ako like, nimeekelea mbao hapa na nakaga ni kama ameiangalia, haizaani juu. So when you give them time, mimi nikiulizwa my opinion, the retirement age ipunguzwe, let it be brought down. Currently it's at how many years?
Usually 60 or 55.
55. I think it was lower to
50. 60 then 55.
Let it come up to around 50 years. So that's around 50. You don't work so much entirely for the company or for the corporate company that has employed you, and then you forget yourself. By the time unagonga 60, you're done.
Yeah, even your knees are...
Yeah, you're done. You're done. What have you done with your life personally? You see, like for me and yourself, I'm a digital creator. I'm able to run Munene Digital. At the same time, I'm running, I'm a radio presenter at the same time, you see. So by the time I'm getting to the age of 50, I should have settled down. Ni make sure kila kitu nishamaliza. I don't need now to go back and start thinking of Munene Digital itaamuka lini, Munene Digital itaamuka lini, Voice of Mwangangi itaamuka lini. No. So let it be, Lord.
And I agree, by the way. I also agree with that, because even those that are working at age 50 plus, they're struggling to get ideas.
Hata kufika job ni ngumu.
They've exploited their brain cells. These are the guys who should be guiding and consulting, not like being actively involved in corporate works. So I also agree it should be lowered to 50. Personally, I would want to retire at 45.
Yeah, that's a good
from like corporate. But for like the voice, the voice gets richer with age.
They say even life begins at 40.
Yeah. So for my personal business, I think I can push up to like 60.
Yeah.
After which, if I've not made it, man, what am I doing?
Pia usikue selfish sana. At least umetrain hata watu wawili, 3 people who can take over after you.
Yeah.
These millennials want to work up to 60 bana, and they are struggling to get to their workplaces bana.
And it's very, very funny, because I have a friend who is a Gen Z, but he's a boss at a company, and majority of the employees are millennials. So the kind of problems he encounters at work are so funny. He's solving weird problems. They're coming to him for consultation. You see, these are old men. What are they telling me? So it becomes tricky. If you get to that age, man, run your company. Just go live in Diani.
Kabisa.
Yeah, so 50 is a good age. I agree.
Right.
I prefer a blend.
Okay.
In terms of like the numbers.
Yeah.
Having a mixture of both millennials and Gen Zs brings that vibrance to it from the Gen Z side, and also brings the seriousness to it from the millennials. So you'll deliver the company objectives. You'll also have fun. See, you're going for retreats in the company and you're all serious. You're talking in email. No, I want a well-balanced environment, and I think that's what majority of the companies are trying to do right now. Is they're trying to balance. We've not seen very many Gen Z bosses. I feel like because of also experience. But I want to see how the future will look like for the corporate world, because the Gen Zs are rising, they're climbing the corporate ladder. So I want to see how Gen Z bosses would look like. For personal preference, a mixture of both, I feel like works good for me. What kind of setup do you prefer?
For that, I'll agree with you. Personally, I'm also not so much into this Gen Z thing. Hata kama I'm a Gen Z, to some point, I don't agree with some of their beliefs and how they conduct themselves. So I would prefer a blend of the millennials. Na hata pia tukipata wale wa zamani, tukiekewa hapo pia itakuwa mbaya. It normally brings up that blend which, that can pronounce something together. Having my boss as a millennial is one thing that will make me, follow rules, be organized, be disciplined, in as much as I have the freedom to do anything. Having a millennial boss would really work for me. But having a Gen Z boss, hey, hiyo kampuni itafungwa kesho. Where I work, unfortunately, actually the boss is not a millennial. No, the boss is a millennial, and now whoever is under them hako nyuma kidogo, ile hiyo generation X.
Yeah.
This particular woman now who serves under a millennial keeps on complaining. Says these new bosses, don't know how to work with time, they are this and this. She keeps on complaining just because we all have different ways of operating depending on the generation where you come from. So I would like a blend. I would prefer a blend. It will really bring something very nice.
True.
Yeah.
That diversity usually brings results. And like you said, if we had like all Gen Z bosses, bro, that company is going to be
wewe kuja kazi sikuji kesho mimi hata sikuwa nimekuambia makosa ni yangu.
So in terms of productivity, who do you think are more productive? This one is a bit off. Okay.
In terms of productivity, well, that's a bit that will be a bit tricky to answer because Gen Zs are quite productive. But let me tell you where Gen Zs are productive. In their minds. Most of the Gen Zs are only creative in their minds and so productive in their minds. They have these bombarding ideas that they can, flop the floor and everybody is like, hiyo maneno yote ulikuwa umenyamazia? But now when it comes to the physical productivity, the Gen Zs are not much of most of them hawako sana hapo. Mali sasa tunataka kuona sasa what have you done? Wekelea hapa kwa meza. Most of them they are not like that. They like to delegate actually. Gen Zs like to delegate. They say nimefikiria when it comes to social media, nimefikiria let's do this. Let's be having 2 posts per day on our TikTok page. Then after that they will not post. Wataulizwa nani atakuwa anafanya? They're like mimi nimeleta idea.
It's the case of the
but when it comes now to physical productivity, the millennials are good at that. The physical productivity, top notch.
It's the case of that the rats that had a meeting and said the cat has been disturbing us for days, so we need to put a bell around their neck so that we can hear when the cat is coming. And then they asked themselves, "Who's going to do it?"
No one. No.
Good idea, but actualization. I feel like in terms of the productivity from the mind, but the productivity in the mind does not pay bills at times. So we need a blend, and that's why we said we need a blend of like both the Gen Zs and the Millennials, because the Gen Zs will come up with the idea, the Millennials will execute the ideas. Even in graphics design, you're a digital content creator. You know that you guys will use Canva and say you're a graphics designer. That's sorry for another day.
No, I feel attacked.
sorry for another day. You claim to be a graphics designer.
I feel attacked.
Canva. Everything has been done for you.
That's a template I'm going to work on.
Who worked on the template? Right? So somebody had to create the template for you. I'm not throwing shade. It's that for a template to exist, it has to be created.
There was a mind behind that.
Somebody had to sit down, and that's the real workforce. Yours is just to move things around. Say change the font. But the blend brings about the results. Now,
personally, I have a friend who keeps on complaining because they work from 8 to 5. For me, I don't work 8 to 5 because you see it's a radio station. So whenever I want, whenever I'm supposed to be on air, I'll avail myself. But if it's for Munene Digital, I'm there full time. I'll work on it whenever I feel like doing it. So when it comes to the corporate world, I feel like how many hours are there from 8 to 5? Sijafanya kazi sana na hawa watu 8 to 5.
Usually 8 or 9 hours.
8 hours,
something of that sort.
8 hours. I feel like 8 hours is not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Lakini Gen Zs watasema tu wapunguziwe tu. If it's 9, let's reduce them to 8. If it is 9 hours, if they're working for 9 hours, then the hours should be reduced at around 8. Because I'm sleeping for 8 hours. Actually, I'm sleeping for less than 8 hours. And you want my mind to be active for the next 9 hours. But anyway, I don't have a problem with the normal working hours that are set for the corporate world. I feel it's fair. It's fair. Mimi nikiangalia it's fair. But from the freelance now perspective, work anytime when you feel like working, as long as you're working to build your brand, as long as you're working to build who you are, work anytime. But for the corporate world, it's fair. I feel like it's a bit fair.
Yeah. Having worked with like both corporate and the freelance world and artists, especially if you work with artists, musicians, producers, you realize that the concept of hours is a human invention. What is hours? Like, actually, I'm grateful because at Balozi, our working model is not the same like the 8 to 5 job. I work like 4 hours a day, 20 hours a week rather.
Yeah.
And I work from home, I attend meetings, when need be I go to the office. But that model is yet to be adapted in the country. Personally, I think if you work for 6 hours in a day, that should be enough productivity. Majority of the people that work 9 to 5 are only productive for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Without fear of being controversial. Especially in those big offices, someone is just sat on the machine and they are doing nothing. They're looking at a spreadsheet or they're playing solitaire. And my brother works in the corporate and we live together. So I see him waking up at 5 and coming home at like 8 p.m. because of the traffic. I'm like, brah. Hey, Mwangangi could never. But when it comes to the creative side, the freelance side, work as many hours as you can because you're pushing your craft and becoming better at what you do. You're not just replicating what's there. You see what most corporate jobs do, they're not creative at all because if you're a secretary, your work is to type. So you type today, you type tomorrow, you type the day after that. What do you learn apart from typing faster? Nothing. But if you're an artist, you're producing something. Today you learn the different ways logic works. So tomorrow you're working with a different DAW, Adobe Audition. Tomorrow you're working with whatever. Your work is more of a learning process. So you can put as many hours as possible. And when you work with artists, you also realize there's something called a creative block. So this is like you've worked so long, maybe you've been on the interview for too long and you're getting tired, so you need to take a break.
You get a brain burn. Are you requesting for a break kindly without saying that you're requesting for a break?
I'm saying there exists such a thing. So if I was to set a different corporate calendar, I would say 6 hours max working. On top of the 8 hours, the 2 hours should be like breaks. And I've seen some offices do this. They have like a footstable, like pool, indoor games, 1 hour refresh your mind. Even at Google offices, they have that. You can go ride bikes or whatever, just come back more creative. So yeah, the extra 2 hours could be put into better use. The 6 hours deliver. Yes. Someone
will say, Munene, you are not fair. You work for only 5 hours a day. It's true, I only work for only 5 hours a day, max, because I have to be in the station for like 1 or 2 hours before my show begins for prep and of course, you know, self-organization here and there. But kulingana vile umeieleza, that's a good one, whereby I can also give that if need be, the hours could be reduced if need be. If there is that need that the hours should be reduced. But if you find it okay with you, you know, just work with it for 8 hours. Kama uko na nguvu kabisa. Yes.
Okay. So that was the Culture Quest with me, Henry Mwangangi, popularly known as the voice of Henry Mwangangi. By the way, if you have voiceover jobs, give to this guy. You can check my website, henrymwangangi.com. You can check me on social media at the voice of Henry Mwangangi. Shout out to Balozi, by the way, if you're looking for any jobs, Mamafua, Fundis, download the Balozi app. And yeah, make sure you subscribe and like and comment.
That was nice. That was a good one. Culture Quest. I've really enjoyed it, by the way. So guys, make sure that you really watch this episode. And of course, don't forget to follow me in all the social medias, whereby you find me at Instagram is munene_Dennis_. TikTok is munene.dennis. Of course, when it comes to Facebook, it's Officer. I actually forgot to mention my alias name is Officer Mwenyewe because that is my on-air name that I'm known with. And then of course on YouTube is Munene Digital. Don't forget to give me a subscribe. It's really important.
Thanks for watching. Bye.